ChatGPT is the first strongly publicly emergent version of something that is going to continue to evolve pretty fast. I'm immensely interested in what that looks like even 12 months from now.
Yeah. I mean, you take it as far as it can go into the domain of science fiction, right? And you could see in, I don't know, probably 20 years time or even less, considering how fast it's going. Like, everyone's got a little holographic animal buddy on their shoulder that's their AI assistant, or it's sort of like the demons from his Dark Materials, but it's AI.
Yeah. Well, I always think the thing like Nick, we live absolutely in a science fiction world where you read classic Asimov or any of those things, and one of the big features of some of golden age sci-fi from the 40s and 50s was there was often this idea of a giant planetary computer that was almost godlike in its power, and you could ask the planetary computer any question and it would answer. And they got the details of Google wrong, but we've had that for 25 years now. And it just feels so normal to us. And this next sense of, as you say, I mean, I would love it if it ended up being a hologram on our shoulders. There's something deeply aesthetically attractive about that.
Yeah.
But I know it's a common reaction, but I wake up in the morning and go, most of the things that I probably dreamed about as a 6-year-old are sort of coming true, except for the flying cars, obviously. But it's quite strange to be living this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this amazing, exciting science fiction stuff converges with the fact that we're in late stage capitalism and society is gradually cascading downwards. What happens when society collapses, but we've all got AI assistants, it's or will the AI assistants somehow help us out of this problem? Hopefully.
I can absolutely see for real people picking their way through the rubble of cities, but with a fully functioning AI assistant kind of guiding them through the rubble, if you sort of mean. That real duality of
it's the Last of Us with like a tutorial mode on.
And it's exactly those kind of not stupid, but like those really strong contrast things that I think tends to be the way that the future actually arrives. You have like hyper crazy sci-fi tech in one side, but you're still making your cornflakes in the morning. Those type of back and forth. I mean, this is one thing I've been talking with a lot of people offline about, and it is the kind of fast effect of something like these type of AI products that do basically, to me they take the middle chunk of knowledge work and they are quite good at doing it. Like you have your kind of architect, designer, guider role, which obviously you're in as a storyteller, and I think you have kind of cleanup roles at the other side of things where something's a bit of a mess and you have to make it right. But all that knowledge work in the middle, all of the kind of grunt knowledge work, it seems to me that these tools are likely to get very good at quite fast. So if I'm running a company and I'm a late stage capitalist and I'm a little merciless, and I realize that team that used to have to be 8 people, now if you have 2 people working with these AI assistants, they'll do the same output. What happens to that other group of people's jobs? And I think that's a rapidly approaching thing that people are going to have to consider.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous, really, because like. If people want to use this technology to like screw others out of a living wage or whatever, right? It's a classic example of capitalism eventually eating itself, right? Because you get rid of all of your staff and replace them with AI, so you don't have to pay them money. Well, then no one has any money and no one can buy things, and so it can't survive on continual growth. Really, it eventually just collapses. And I mean that's what we're talking about when we say late stage capitalism, right? So I mean, it'll be scary, interesting, hopefully a little bit exciting to see where it goes. But I was actually talking with my co-writer today about it at the studio, and we were wondering about like like the question you just posed, what happens when, like, you can't trust big corporations or the government or tech companies, right? Like, what happens there? And we were theorizing, well, there are a bunch of smart people out there, right? There will be sort of like bootleg versions of this that are anti-capitalist and anti-establishment. You'll have these little, in 30 years' time, when we're all picking through the rubble, as you said, you'll have these little factions that are fighting the good fight against the evil overlords, but they're using all their little AIs that can't be monitored by the big brother or whoever, right? So yeah, I know. I think jokes aside, right? I think we will see that sort of an approach happening more and more, of like smaller companies that are like, hey, we don't care about money, we just want to like help everyone,
Yes.
and you can trust us, and this is why, and this is how. So while something like ChatGPT is huge at the moment, I have no illusions that the people running ChatGPT are probably just looking for a massive paycheck, if they haven't already received that at this point.
I suspect a certain very large tech company is providing that as we speak. But yes, it's fascinating.
Yeah. So there will be a point where it's like, okay, well, now ChatGPT is trying to sell us ads, or it's monitoring our interests or likes or dislikes or whatever, right? And so where do we go from there? Do we want to go down the same track as social media that just like ruined the internet for everyone? Or do we want to resist and fight for a better world? And like, really, we're at a stage in human existence, I think, where it's a make or break moment, right? You think about things like global warming, right? We're already at a point where it's most likely too late to stop what's going to happen. It's more about mitigating the cost at this point, and that it may seem hopeless, and it's because to a certain degree it is, right? It is hopeless to a certain degree, but hopelessness doesn't mean that you should give up. I like to I align myself with this obscure philosophical concept of hopeful pessimism, right? Which is this idea that we may all be doomed. The world may be about to like die and burn up, and all the heat, the oceans may be rising, and there may be no hope, but the right thing to do, the ethical thing to do in the face of that, is to hope anyway, and to take action and fight as best you can to try and make a better world. And I think, to bring it back to ChatGPT and AI, I think that technology has the potential to really aid people in doing that, and in dealing with these insurmountable situations of rising costs of living and rising oceans and all of that stuff, right? You can only hope that's going to be, if not a way out for all of us, a way for us to at least handle it without losing our minds.
Tempest Bay wouldn't be possible without the amazing support of everyone involved, including you. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and consider leaving a review. This helps us out a lot. For more, please go to projecttempest.net for access to the videos, art, podcast, award-winning stories, and much more. That's projecttempest.net. See you next time in Tempest Bay.